Hi, my name's Raven. I live with my mom, Flora, my dad, Michael, and my little sister, Cassie. I'm a musician, and that's always made me feel like kind of a black sheep in my super athletic family. My dad, Michael, is the high school gym teacher. My mother is a former tennis pro. My sister is the point guard. And then there's me. I'm different, but I've always felt like I still belonged. That is until the day we moved. Mom hauled out a rickety chest, and what was inside brought smiles to all of our faces. Boxes of childhood photos. It was a really sweet moment, looking at all the things we had done together. But I realized most of the photos were at sporting events. I was even crying in some of them. What was in the bottom of the chest took my breath away. My birth certificate. But something was off. Aaron was written in one of the rows, a name I'd never heard. I reached down for it, and my mom slammed the chest shut. What was she hiding? Later that night, when everyone was asleep, I tiptoed up the staircase into the attic. Every step up the stairs, I felt like I was doing something wrong. My parents loved me. They would never hide anything from me. I tried to talk myself out of opening the chest. Finally, I opened the lid. When I found Aaron on the birth certificate, my whole world came crashing down. It felt like my head was spinning. Aaron Leighton was listed as my father, but my dad's name wasn't Aaron. My last name wasn't even Leighton. The man I thought was my father wasn't. A light flicked on behind me, and my parents stood in the doorway of the attic. Tears were welling in my mother's eyes. "We were going to tell you," she said. The man who raised me put his arms out to hug me, but I shoved him away. I snapped. "You're not my father. Don't touch me." Tears streamed down his face, tears I had never seen before. But I felt such betrayal, such a rage burning in me that I couldn't have cared less. It's no wonder I'm not like you guys. I'm not even his. My mom tried to tell me I was no different than Cassie, that I was their daughter regardless of my blood, but I couldn't bear to listen. If they had lied about my dad, what else were they prepared to lie about? I blew past them and slammed the door to my bedroom, locking it. I pulled up my laptop and typed a name into social media. Aaron Leighton. He looked exactly like me. And best of all, he was a musician like me. His photos showed him rocking out on guitar, fearless and confident. It was no wonder I felt like a black sheep. I wasn't like this family. I was like him, like my real dad. He had a post talking about a show he had in town the next night. The idea of finally meeting him is what lulled me to sleep. The next day, I couldn't look at my mom, or my dad, when I came down later for lunch. Had my mom cheated on my dad with my biological father? Did they know about each other? I begged silently that Aaron would answer the questions, because the idea of talking to anyone else about it made me sick. I slammed the door without saying a word and hurried onto a bus to go downtown for the show. I daydreamed the entire way about meeting my dad. Had he missed me? Would he look at me and just know? Did my mom even tell him about me? I nestled into the crowd at a grimy venue, waiting for him to take the stage. Finally, he stepped out, just like I imagined. He was a rock god on stage. He even had the same mannerisms I did. I felt myself buzzing as I watched him play the full set. We could be a father-daughter band. He could teach me all the things my parents couldn't. When the set ended, I hovered by the edge of the stage. He finally made eye contact with me, and I didn't know what to do. I fumbled for my birth certificate in my pocket and handed it to him, shaking. He gave a sad smile at the birth certificate, then at me. "I knew this day would come, Raven," he said, but his voice was disappointed. Wasn't he excited to see me? Aaron led me to sit down. He started to tell me the truth, but it felt like he was far away. "Your mother and I dated in high school. I wasn't a good match for her, but we were crazy about each other. She got pregnant with you and..." His voice trailed off here. Was it regret in his eyes? Embarrassment? "I ran off. I didn't want to be a father, Raven, and I still don't. That's when Michael stepped in. He was there when you were born, you know." I felt my whole new reality slip away. Aaron, my real dad, he didn't want me. I tried to talk him into raising me. I tried to tell him about my music. But he just took my hand and shook his head. You're not Michael's daughter by blood, but you are his daughter where it really counts. With that, Aaron rose out of his chair, grabbed his guitar, and walked away. I didn't take the bus back home. I walked through the rain-slicked streets, tears streaming down my face. My real dad didn't want me. My family had lied to me. But then I started thinking about what Aaron said. Sure, my parents had lied, and sure, they were different from me, but they showed up to every concert I had, every music recital. Michael had even helped me take my first steps. Did it really matter who was my biological father? Didn't the person who raised me matter more? I stopped under an awning. My wet hair stuck to my face, my feet were soaked, and suddenly I felt terrible about everything I had said to my parents. A familiar car pulled up behind me. Michael sprinted from behind the wheel with my mom close behind. I was so worried about you, Michael said. You've always been my daughter. You'll always be my daughter, no matter what. I let myself cry and let my parents embrace me. I'm sorry, Dad, I said. My parents apologized for lying, and they didn't have any excuses. They admitted it was wrong, and they should have told me, but I forgive them. And I can only hope they've forgiven me for the things I said too. No matter how we're related, the people around me who love me are my family. My dad may not be my biological father, but he's always loved me. He's always been there, and he'll always be there. Isn't that what family is?